and I'm going to take 2 of my minutes to let you stand up, take a walk in the room, because people are drowning in here. I can see that from the stage. And please approach somebody who you haven't talked to before, and maybe just touch upon the question, the philosophical question that was just raised here. 2 minutes, I'll arrange with the electronic equipment, and then we'll start. Thank you.
Microphone.
Oh, the microphone. There we go. And the lights. Wow, it works. So the title text after the movie said that everything starts with something small. And that's the philosophy of the organization that I represent. And this strange name, the Order of the Teaspoon, it comes from a metaphor that an Israeli writer called Amos Oz pointed out in his book, How to Cure a Fanatic. We believe that everybody has a teaspoon to make a change in the world, so the teaspoon is a symbol for action. If there would be a fire here today, there would be 3 kinds of people. Some of you would run out to save your own lives as soon as you can. Some of you would do that, but tomorrow you would also complain to the organizers what a bad work everybody did when the fire started. Some of you would actually try to extinguish the fire. But maybe you don't have a bucket of water, maybe you don't even have a glass of water, but symbolically we all have a teaspoon of water, and we can help to extinguish the dangerous fires that are in the world. That's the philosophy of the organization, the Order of the Teaspoon. I'm here to speak about a specific project that we've carried out in Sweden, and I would like to start with a quote from Simone de Beauvoir. She famously said, "One is not born but rather becomes a woman." I think this is applicable to any identity. The identity of a mother, of a preschool teacher, the leader, and so on. If we recognize these identities as roles, rather shaped by ourselves, we also have to admit to the responsibility to modify these roles so that they can invite more people. There is not just one way to be a leader. I believe that the problem of gender is that it prescribes how much we should be rather than how we are. Imagine how much happier we would be if we didn't have the weight on gender expectations. Furthermore, prejudice and behavioral norms based on the notion of gender is prevalent in every labor field, in every industry, in every workplace, and in every classroom. Through my work at the organization, I'm promoting tolerance and diversity in society. I believe strongly that gender equality is an essential part of this. This aspect also reflects in the Sustainable Development Goals. How many of you know of the new Sustainable Development Goals? Raise your hands. You who don't, please look them up, because goal number 5 is about gender equality, and it's a very important one. So this is why I worked for the participation of this organization to distribute the novel We Should All Be Feminists by ChimamandaNgoziAdichie to all 100,000 upper secondary school students in Sweden. So they've all received an individual gift of this amazing book. And I would like to quote a small section from the book where Adichie says, "We teach girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. You should aim to be successful, but not too successful. Otherwise, you will threaten the men. Because I am a female, I am expected to make my life choices, always keeping in mind that marriage is one of the most important. Now, marriage can definitely be a source of joy and love and mutual support, but why do we teach girls to aspire marriage and we don't teach boys the same? As a leader today, it is important to have qualities such as intelligence, innovation, knowledge, and creativity. Adichie also points out that those qualities, though do not have anything to do with gender, and that creates a need for change on our view on gender and leadership. In her book, Adichie questions how societies continue to accept certain accomplishments from girls and completely other from children who are boys. Furthermore, she discusses the female implications of assigning children feminine and masculine roles, seeing both perspectives. One anecdote from the book is about how she as a little girl wanted to become the class prefect, but could not because traditionally it had to be a boy, said the teacher. Moreover, the leader of the class could not be a girl. Girls are not leaders. This was the message given to her, the young Adichie, from her teacher. Luckily, she did not let herself be hindered by gender-biased ideas and behavioral codes. Instead, she started in her early teens to discuss gender-related issues and has continued to work with these questions in adulthood. She's a very famous author. She's also written the book Half Yellow Sun and Americana. She's an excellent author. With the distribution of this book, our organization wished to start a dialogue in school among the students about gender and equality. In order to enable this, I also initiated that we create a teacher's guide for the book to help the teachers with the subject. Like Adichie, the Order of the Teaspoon believe in every individual's capability to create societal change. Be it small initially, small actions can indeed be the catalyst for change. As long as there are wide perspectives, engagement and hard work for a cause, it should be irrelevant if the person is a woman, a man, a transsexual, an intersex, or another gender. The Order of the Teaspoon is working on several projects to celebrate diversity and different expressions. Besides this distribution, we have presented a web-based project called Not a Stranger, where there is also stories in English. And the stories of these are different narratives from people with different genders, age, ethnicities, and abilities in order to manifest that success, great leadership, and being a good role model is not fixed in a certain body or personality. Swedish authors, stand-up comedians, scholars, students, and PMs have posted their personal stories on challenging societal norms and creating new ones. If you didn't know, Sweden used to be a very homogeneous country. Today we are not. This is the notion I want our children and youth to grow up with. By assimilating different leadership styles of women and men, we could create a view on leaders that would result in a more skillful general leadership style. This, though, would require us to stop thinking about certain skills as specifically female or male, I believe. Of course, I'll slow down. My organization works against old-fashioned discourses that are hindering our future leaders from coming forward as they are. Old norms are kept alive because we allow them to. The norms are usually well known and have been for a long time collectively negotiated and agreed upon. We seem to forget quite often that the future is now. Every day, children and youth and young people look at us adults, absorbing obstacles and hindering notions from the time of our grandparents. Notions that we as adults need to take responsibility for changing, although We were not the ones that did create them. And I would like to finish off with another quote from Adichie. She says, "If we do something over and over again, it becomes normal. If we see the same things over and over again, it becomes normal." Thank you.
And we open the floor for questions. Please raise your hand and introduce yourself before the question. Question at the back. Good. And tell us who the question is for, please.
I'm Ambassador of Havdelin, former assistant for the Minister for Cabinet Affairs. I was permanent representative to the UN in Geneva and then ambassador to the Vatican. Well, it's rather not a question, it's more of a set of comments, and I thank the last speaker, I understand all the others also have mingled with these issues. Feminists have, we have overcome the period where feminist was the name of the game. Feminist was an important movement, but at the same time, it realized its setbacks. The name of the game is working together and being together, men and women. The second thing is that I noticed that the last speaker, in her presentation, have very much focused, while citing the book as an example, that book, on the role of schools. I still think that changing the minds lies also in the family, in the community. You cannot rely only on the school. You have to do a change and create awareness in the families, mothers, fathers, young people coming up to introduce that notion of equality, of equal chances, and so on and so forth. As far as different kinds of genders, quote unquote, I think in this, while respecting some notions, we have also to take into account the cultural specificities of each society. What is accepted in the West is not accepted or not yet accepted in other communities, in other societies, in other parts of the world. And while not prejudging what a community, a society, a part of the world is believing in, we should not force others to accept what their own cultural backgrounds does not take and cannot accept. And in this, I would say that not one size would fit all. So this, within the diversity, the specificity of each society, culturally speaking, socially speaking, have to be respected. Yesterday we had the whole afternoon talking about an important aspect, the spiritual. And within this, there is also the religious. And religion, spiritual beliefs, ideologies are also to be respected and to be taken seriously, because they are not, they have the good and the bad. And we have to exploit the good for the benefit of that progress we want to create.
Thank you, Ambassador. Let's give Lovisa a chance to respond to that.
Thank you. So I'll start with to comment the first part that is about families. So when we do projects in schools, it is our highest aim to give something free of charge and as an individual gift. The reason for doing that is so that the discussions and the conversations doesn't stay in school. So if a children receives a children's book at the age of 9 and he or she brings it home, our hope is that she will read it together with her grandparents or her parents or brothers and sisters, so that the conversation continues. The same goes for the book We Should All Be Feminists. It was an individual gift to all 17-year-olds